LaMelo Ball has been traded. Shams tweeted earlier this morning that the Charlotte Hornets are trading star LaMelo Ball to the Minnesota Timberwolves and Josh Green for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first, 3 first-round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 2030, and 3 second-round picks in 29, 2032, and 2033. I'm a Hornets fan. I kind of knew this trade was gonna, not him going to the Timberwolves, but I knew the trade was gonna come because I've realized every time Shams goes on live TV and says a guy is probably getting traded, they got traded. Like, look at James Harden in the middle of the season, out of nowhere. In the middle of a Clippers game, he says that the Clippers are looking at trading James Harden. What was it? 2 days later, he's traded. Today, yesterday, after the draft or mid-draft, he says it about.
No, it was like right after, like
Yeah,
15 minutes
right after
the
the
second round.
draft. LaMelo, Hornets are listening to offers. Boom, today the trade happened. Um, I'm gonna start by saying another move is coming. We created $40 million trade exception, and you just can't let those go to waste.
Miles
Um,
Bridges is out of here.
so I'm thinking Miles Bridges is next, but like, what other star could we be going for?
I
It
heard
has to be a point.
Jaylen Brown.
If
I
I'm
heard
doing
Jaylen Brown.
anything, it has to be a point because I like Miller and Khan's roles, off the ball, the
Y'all want
point.
Darius Garland?
I've seen 3 people in the past like 30 minutes that could potentially be traded with that trade exception. Obviously, Jaylen Brown, that one is the one I expect the most. He kind of fits something we need to. We need a guy that can get to the rim. We haven't had that last year. Our whole team was just guys that can shoot threes and then the occasional, get to the rim. But Jaylen Brown will get to the rim basically every play and then shoot his threes on top of that. Um, I also seen Donovan Mitchell is thrown around there. He's not a pure point guard, but Donovan Mitchell is always willing to pass. He's a willing defender as well. That one I would like. I don't know how much. I don't know why the Cavs do that though. Probably for that $40 million trade exception. And then the other one was Ja Morant. And people will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're trading LaMelo Ball for Ja Morant." But I don't think a lot of people realize they think Ja's just a one-dimensional guy. They think he's just a scorer, but Ja actually is a floor general. He can play make quite a bit. What was it, like 2 seasons ago? He averaged 8 assists, like
Something like
20
that.
like 20 points, 8 assists. Wow,
Didn't
and
hear
just
something
woke
like
up.
that. Really?
Yeah, but we traded LaMelo at the right time if we were going to trade him. You traded him while his value was high enough. Um, because he finally played I don't know, like 60 something, maybe even 70 games this past year.
This
First
was his
time
healthiest.
it was his healthiest year, and now that's what the Timberwolves are banking on. And the Timberwolves haven't been a team that had good injury luck in these past couple years. If you look at Anthony Edwards getting hurt near the playoffs every year, Jaden McDaniels stays pretty healthy, but Dante DiVincenzo's now out. They didn't trade away any depth pieces, only Naz Reid, which is why I like the trade for the Timberwolves. And I'll like the trade for the Hornets if once I see what this trade exception is going to be used on. If it's Jaylen Brown, I'm going to like it. Um, you know, it's literally just LaMelo. Like Josh Green was really just a throw in. Plus, we got off of Josh Green's. I think he was on a $12 million contract. Got off of that for a guy that doesn't even play. But the only thing I do hate as well, we cleared 50 million in one of the weakest free agency classes. This is one of the weakest free agency classes. If you look, the top free agent that could have left their team was Austin Reeves, who now resigned. We also brought back Kobe White. We'll see if him or Christian Anderson start. I was gonna text you, Bobby. I might have to up my Christian Anderson stats now.
Um, I think I was thinking about this in the middle of being awake and asleep.
Yeah.
Like I was like, who's gonna start now? Is Christian Anderson gonna
They
start? Is Kobe
could
White
they
gonna
could be
start?
very high on Christian Anderson, and then Kobe White's just like our super six man. And I'm
Nah, I
interested
feel like I have to start him.
we only
I
paid
might
him
have to start.
24 a year. That's around six men of the year type of deal. Like
Well, you
the
think about
deal
it,
looks like
Tyler
a
Hero
lot because it's 3 years,
Tyler Hero did
74.
yeah.
So like he could be a six man. Or I feel like it could be like a Kobe starts, like maybe like the first 20 games or Christian's developing into the league.
Right.
Um,
Right.
because I'm a
I don't
big
think
fan
he's
of Christian
too
Anderson.
fast
Christian
right away.
Anderson can shoot. His only thing is he's small. He's a willing
Mhm.
defender. Obviously, at Texas Tech, he was the number one scorer, so all his effort went into offense. Here he'll be able to play with guys that can take pressure off of him. Next, Miles Bridges needs to be gone. That I am gonna say that now. We can't start Kobe White and then now Miles Bridges is still our starting power forward. He needs to get moved in some sort of deal. I don't care if it's for some second round picks now, but Miles Bridges needs to be gone. Nas Reed is an interesting part of this. Like, do we reroute him? Do we keep him? Um, there's a world where we keep him because Charles Lee loves his stretch bigs. Uh,
He had a, he had them in Boston, even though
yeah.
he was the assistant.
And
He
and it's
made
been
people
said all offseason that Boston's very high on Nas Reed. So that's what's making me think like he could be one of those parts in the Jaylen Brown type of trade. Um, and then like, do they view Nas Reed as a power forward or a center? I think you can run Nas Reed and Musa out there at the same time because Nas Reed can go score and get his own bucket. I think you can do that. Most people don't like this trade because it's probably going to hinder Tijon's development as well with Nas Reed getting some play time if Nas Reed stays. But it's also if Miles Bridges is gone, I don't know how much this trade um hinders Tijon. But it's an interesting direction. You know, props to Jeff Peterson um and coach Charles Lee. They traded LaMelo and then they went on to do our rookies presser. You know, that takes guts because you know all the questions are going to be about LaMelo this, LaMelo
LaMelo.
that. What went into the trade when it's supposed to be about the rookies? Which I also feel bad for Hannes and Christian Anderson because they're like, damn, it was supposed to be, you know, our moment getting introduced to the city, but now all everyone can think about is LaMelo getting traded. But yeah, I really like the fit in Minnesota. They were able to keep Jaden McDaniels, so a very nice defender between those two. Even Rudy Gobert.
I'm
Um,
surprised they were able to keep those two. You
I,
think at least one of those guys
to be honest,
would
I'm
be
glad Nas Reed. It was either Jaden McDaniels or Nas Reed. If Rudy Gobert was
yeah,
what we got back, I would have been heated. Like that. That's when I would have been
yeah.
mad. Get Rudy
Mhm.
Gobert's the contract we get back. No, Nas Reed, I can live with. You know, it. I know we're a small market. It's gonna be hard to get our next star in here. We got to hope Brandon Miller becomes the next Paul George, like he's projected to be. I think he can be. I just need that nigga to stay healthy, and
He definitely gets injured like Paul George. I
he
can't
gets
hold
injured
I
like
can't
Paul
hold
George.
it.
Yeah, so it was an interesting
Shit.
trade that came out of nowhere. Um, and it's interesting. Everyone's obviously hating on the Hornets. They're like, look at the year you just had. But if you look at it, I know LaMelo helped us win games. But if you look at like what the culture they're trying to set, I know LaMelo was a leader in a way. Like he spoke good, but there's a world where guys always speak good, but who knows like how they actually act in the locker room and stuff like when the cameras are off. So who knows if he was like a locker room cancer? No one knows what went on behind the scenes. Like
Mhm.
it could have been like he wanted to be traded. Like they said he wants to be in Charlotte, but it could have just been trade me to Minnesota, and that's why this is the only deal we got, and we didn't get McDaniels for it. Obviously the other team to trade for him could have been the Raptors.
Yeah, speaking of, I'll talk about that another
And
day.
I don't know what we would have got back from the Raptors. The contract would have been IQ or RJ Barrett, and then there's no way they wouldn't have to slide us a young guy. Like Nas Reed, I'm okay with them not sliding us like a Yohan J or Terrence Shannon Jr., although I would have liked getting one of those guys.
Mhm.
The Raptors would have to throw in like I guess even just Grady Dick. They would just have to throw in
Yeah,
him just because like I RJ Barrett, getting him back for LaMelo is like,
That's a lateral movement. I can't hold you. A big lateral movement.
I've seen some people give the Hornets as low as a D. I've seen some people give the Hornets an A just because of they said what I said. We banked off of him being healthy. Who knows how healthy LaMelo's going to be in these upcoming seasons, especially with the team like the Timberwolves, who's had a lot of injury concerns for every player on that team. Every player on that team gets hurt quite a bit. But if I'm gonna grade it, the Timberwolves A, Hornets. As of now, I'm gonna give it a B until I see what this other move is. If it's one of those guys I mentioned, it because I don't really know. Like there could be something else behind the works. Like what other stars like disgruntled? Like there's no way. Someone said like an Alperen Sengun trade that helps us in no way. If we're getting Alperen Sengun, like when I read that, I literally closed Twitter because I was like Alperen Sengun, dog.
What are we talking about?
Um,
What are we-
yeah, no, just looking at the people that are most likely to get traded, that it can be like it has to be obviously Jalen
Jay
Brown's number
Brown.
one.
Yeah.
I guess John Morant, and if Donovan Mitchell is really on the block, him. What I can't think of like anyone else that we could be clearing $40 million for.
If that
Like
I
there
can't
there
I can't
could
tell.
it could be this situation like LaMelo where there's a disgruntled star that just the news hasn't come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I'm trying to think
Mm-hmm.
of what disgruntled star. I can't even think of stars right now because my brain's just trying to think of too many things right now. It's interesting trade. I kind of expected to wake up to it. Like when I was going to
Yeah, me
bed,
too.
I was like, the trade's coming. I was like, just let us get back some draft capital. And people don't like the draft capital we got back because they're pick swaps. But we own the right to swap. So if Minnesota's pick is number 3, we can swap. We could be like, yeah, we want that pick, and y'all can have our pick even if it's at 16, y'all can have that.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just it's hard to trade with teams like the Timberwolves. The Raptors would have been a good team because we could have got picks literally next year, starting next year. They have picks next year. The Timberwolves don't have picks till 2030, which is why we had to trade for a 2030 first round pick. So like the Raptors, the only part that would have intrigued me was that. See now if I'm talking about who I want, my number one guy, if we're trading for someone, it's obviously unrealistic, but it's Scotty Barnes. I love Scotty Barnes. He gets to the rim. He's a defensive player of the year level defender. Um, it- he can handle the ball. Who knows if that's in the works? I don't know how much they would want. I don't know what's in the works behind the scenes. So, um, we will see. It was an interesting trade. We'll see how Minnesota's season goes. I'm gonna be rooting on LaMelo and Ant. That's been the talk every year, basically. Let's pair up
They're
LaMelo
gonna get
and Ant.
national televised games now.
I hope they give us at least one Hornets against the Wolves game. No, actually, I kind of don't want that. I just want Eric Collins to be on that call. I want to hear Eric Collins. I don't want to hear because I want him to be in his Hornets announcer version to where he can have like he could go in depth like he does like in our type of games because he'd be over here talking about Tosan and Wuvon like in like where he came from. We just cut Tosan, by the way.
Yeah, I just sent you something because very very intrigued on what will happen in this situation.
Would you do
Those
that?
are interesting. Yeah, I was working up some things right now. I think I did RJ Barrett,
Hmm.
uh Grady Dick, Loki. I put in Colin Murray Boyles in there. Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors. The Clippers would get Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, a 2028 and a 2030. Oh my god, a 2030 first unprotected. And this Spurs trade, Kawhi to the Spurs, to the Clippers, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Carter Bryant, a 27 Atlanta first round pick unprotected, and a 2031 San Antonio Sacramento first round pick unprotected. I'd probably do that Spurs one. Honestly, you get a versatile shooter like Devin Vassell. Keldon Johnson really didn't have the best playoffs, I guess, but he had a solid 6 man of the year season, and then Carter Bryant's a young and up and coming player who had a really solid rookie season. So I think I'd rather do the Spurs trade, but that looked like a monster with him and Wemby and Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper and a bunch of other rookies that they just got. But if we wanted to ship him back off to Toronto, we could take Brandon Ingram's contract. That'd probably be a solid dynamic duo between Brandon Ingram and Darius Garland. I don't know how be defensively, um, but I think I'd prefer the San Antonio trade over Toronto because like San Antonio probably has a little bit more like with Toronto. The only reason why like they're a candidate is because they got guys on big contracts with a lot of money. But with the Spurs, they have a little bit more to give since they could ship off like 2, 3 more players, or they could ship off the same amount of players, but they could give up a little bit more assets. So we'll see what happens with Kawhi. I don't think it's like it's super 50-50 for the Clippers. I know they're talking about wanting to keep him and he wants to stay as well, but there's always a world where he could get traded. And if he does, it was it was a cool 7 years with him, 7, 8 years. And I appreciated his time with the Clippers, and hopefully wherever he goes, he could be healthy and play well. So yeah, I don't really have much to say there until something really happens. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that for the Clippers.
As I was saying, if you guys didn't watch that playing game against the Heat, our last sequence in Spectrum Center was a game winner by LaMelo Ball layup, Miles Bridges block, and now both of them could, or obviously LaMelo's already traded, but Miles could be getting traded today as well. The thing that's also annoying me about people is they're thinking just because this trade happened today, they're like, oh, the offseason is over. The Hornets, why would they do this? There's so much offseason to go. Like, I don't think people
You
like
guys,
people
oops,
people never
we're just
realize
gonna do a
that.
little, you know, we're just gonna do a little bit of free agency now, since you guys are freeing up cap space.
We're freeing up, like, I guess John Collins would be one of our bigger
I,
targets now. I,
I could see y'all really getting
I
John
can,
Collins. I'd be
yeah.
that pick up.
I definitely want us to, if we're trading for a point, it needs to be a not a ball dominant point, a point that's gonna be willing to pass the ball. Because if I'm gonna be honest, if you look at LaMelo or Khan and Brandon Miller's buckets, a lot of them came off of assisted by LaMelo because LaMelo got them open and kicked it to the corner, kicked it to the wing. I don't know how much of that Kobe White would do because I know Kobe White is more of a combo scoring guard than a point guard, which is why I'm thinking Christian Anderson is going to start. And if Christian Anderson is going to start, Miles Bridges 1000% has to be gone because Christian Anderson is 6'2". We need some defenders around him just to protect his size, even though he's not going to. They're going to try and target him, but he's a willing defender, as I was saying. Um, most people really think Ja Morant is going to be the trade.
Yeah, buddy.
But yeah, so we'll see. If another trade happens, we'll be right back on here and you guys will see us in another video. Uh if not, well, another trade should be coming, so you guys will see it. But without further ado, let's make sure it didn't happen yet. Like, I have my phone up. Like, that's what
Uh,
every time I stare down,
yeah, I have nothing right now.
AJ DeBonster will wear 4. But yeah, no. We'll see what happens for the future of Charlotte. Go get me just a guy that's just gonna contribute to winning, because we were this close to being in the playoffs and then we traded one of the guys,
Oh my!
one of the bigger reasons why we were there.
I just
So,
realized we have to deal with LaMelo Ball
all right. So,
now.
thank y'all for watching. We'll see what happens. Peace.